On this week's episode, we talk about how to keep your kids' backs healthy through the school year. Welcome to episode 8 of the Wellness Lab. I'm Dr. Nick. I'm here with Dr. Rob, and we're going to be talking today about backpack safety. Now, school has already started for the year, but these are things that you should be checking up on your kid's backpack throughout the year. So we came up with 9 tips, Dr. Rob, and I'm going to have you start walking us through those.
So first one that we want to look at is the bag should not weigh more than 10% of the child's body weight. So young spines are still developing. The bag's too heavy, you're going to put a lot of strain on the back. And so it's just really important that the lighter the bag, the better ideally.
Great.
The second thing we're going to worry about is we want to carry only essential items. So throughout the week, you're going to gather a lot of things into the bag. It's really going to add up towards the end of the week. So maybe Sunday night, kind of cleaning that out before starting the next week.
Great.
So the third one we're going to look at is the size of the backpack. So it shouldn't be any wider than the shoulders or any lower than the hip. So a child, let's say half his size, this bag would be entirely too big for them. So we want to make sure the bag is really just fit well to the individual person. So the fourth thing we're going to look at is we want to distribute things evenly in the bag. So a lot of bags are going to have side pockets. If there's a lot of weight, say on this side, what it's going to do is going to kind of pull him to the side, which again, like earlier we were saying, we don't want any unnecessary stress. So bending to the side like that will put more strain on one side versus the other side. So fifth thing we want to look at is we want to keep all the items centered in the bag. So if I can make a turn around.
Sure.
So heavier things we want closer to the back. So laptops, books, and then smaller notebooks can be in front of that. So it holds the heavy weight closer to the body, which you're able to deal with a little easier. So we always want to be sure that we're using both straps with the backpack. A lot of people wear it like this, and it's just going to pull that shoulder down again. But if we're doing this, having both sides, we're just going to distribute the load more evenly throughout the body, and it's just easier to deal with when that's the case. Okay, so the seventh one we're looking at is we're adjusting the straps so they're at shoulder height. We don't want to see the bag hanging low on the hips right here. What it's going to do is going to pull you back in this direction. It's going to irritate these joints here. So we want to see it more evenly distributed where it's up around the shoulders here, not hanging low on the hips. So the eighth, we want to see these large padded straps right here. Generally, if they're too thin, it just puts a little more strain. Say the strap is kind of like this. It's just going to put a little more strain directly into this spot, whereas the wider will just displace load a little bit easier. Okay, and the ninth is we're looking at either chest or lumbar straps for the backpack. So what this does, just kind of like these wide straps here, it's just going to displace the load a little bit better. So we're getting some pull here as opposed to only having stress here. Now, ideally, if there was a lumbar support, we would have another strap that came across right here.
All right, so that was our 9 tips for backpack safety. If you'd like to get a list of those tips, you can go to our website, which is wellnesslab.tv, or you can even call the office and schedule a backpack analysis with one of the doctors. Raney's Fitbit of the Week is next.
Hi, I'm Raney. Welcome to the Fitbit of the Week. This week, I'm going to go over 4 calming techniques for students. They can do this sitting at their desk quietly. They can do this studying at home, or even laying in bed at night. You know, if they can't sleep, they're very stressed out about something at school or whatever it may be. So that's what we're going to go over is just these 4 techniques. So let's start with the first one. This is called mantra. So what this is kind of like positive self-coaching. You know, you can do this out loud to yourself. You can do it in your head. So we'll use like taking a test, for example. You're sitting at your desk and you're very overwhelmed with stress because of the test. So you can kind of talk to yourself, you know, you can do this, or maybe there's like a special word or phrase that kind of calms you down. And you can use that to kind of get you through that stressful moment. So that's mantra. The second one here is just breathing. So taking time to calm your nerves by just breathing in for about 4 seconds. So you're breathing in for a count of 4, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then breathing out. So not breathing in quickly and holding, but just breathing in slowly and then releasing slowly. And then completing a few rounds as long as you need to kind of like calm the nerves, maybe calm your body down. But the good thing about this one is that when you do get nervous, your heart starts to race. And so what this is going to do is also calm the heart rate down as well, which would be good for anyone who has problems with that. The third one is muscle relaxation. This one's a little bit different. So whether you're, sitting at your chair or laying in bed or whatever, and you just feel like your body is fidgety and you are just so nervous or stressed or whatever it may be, what you can do is take a section of your body. So for example, your legs or your lower body, you're going to squeeze the muscles tight, kind of hold it there for a few seconds or whatever, and then release, and really think about the feeling of those muscles just relaxing. And then moving to another part of your body, say your upper body, and you're holding those muscles really tight and then relaxing them. And again, really focusing on the feeling of relaxation through those muscles. And then the last one here is just visualization. This one kind of can go with the first one that we talked about. So this one is just, again, let's say you're taking a test and you're having a really hard time getting through it because you're so nervous. Just sit there and think about, I'm going to do good on this. Think about a positive outcome. Again, like I said, it kind of goes with the self-coaching. You're talking your way through it, that it's going to be okay in the end. I can do this. So that's what visualization is. These are just 4 examples of calming techniques. So what I would suggest would be to just practice all of them a couple times, see which one fits best for you, because everyone deals with their stress differently. And that's been this week's Fitbit, and we'll see you next time.
Welcome back. We're going to be talking again with Dr. Rob, and we're going to be going over kids in chiropractic. So normally when people talk about kids in chiropractic, they're talking about younger kids, 3, 4, 5 years old. We want to talk more about that age group around like 12 to 18, when a lot of development starts to take place and kids really start to sprout up. So Dr. Rob, you see a lot of kids in the office, a lot of young athletes. What are the things that parents should be aware of when determining whether they should bring them into a chiropractor?
Well, a lot of times with kids, a big problem is kids think they're invincible and any injuries aren't going to lead to long-term problems. But we usually find it's a lot of times injuries in their teen years which really start to cause problems later in life. So the sports injuries, the minor car accidents that didn't really cause any pain, things like that, all of those problems add up and we see them like 10 years later.
Right. And it seems like, and I remember when I was a kid, that it seems like kids, especially ones that play sports, are just assuming that that's just part of the game. It's normal to get hurt and that they're going to get better in a week or so. What would you say to parents when their kids say that?
I mean, it's usually these flare-ups, they'll happen more often, the pain will be more severe, and then that's when it starts to lead to more long-term problems.
Right.
Joints aren't working the way that they're supposed to, and when that's the case, something else has to do the work. That's when you start getting wear and tear damage in the joints.
Gotcha. So normally about age 12, 13, 14, kids can start getting adjusted the way they would as an adult would. Mm-hmm. But below that, we do lower force techniques to make sure that we're taking care of the kids. But what are some other things that we do here in the office that you deal with the kids in terms of other than chiropractic?
Well, I mean, with sports injuries specifically, we're doing more soft tissue work. So working on sprains, strains, just trying to get to it before a bunch of scar tissue has settled into these areas, because at that point they become a lot harder to treat.
Right. And kids, in my experience, kids have a really great healing capacity, and usually it doesn't take as long to treat things the way it would with an adult who's got all those that built up.
Yeah, again, they respond a lot faster just because it's not like we're going through and fixing 20 years of problems that have just been sitting there.
Exactly. So that's been our backpack safety and kids in chiropractic segment. If you'd like to find out those tips on backpack safety, go to our website, which is wellnesslab.tv, or check us out on Facebook where all the episodes are, and we will see you next week. To submit a question, watch a past episode, or to find out more about the Springfield Wellness Center, check us out on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, or find us on Instagram, or check out our show website at wellnesslab.tv.